How are you? Good. Good to see you.
You can do it with that. Yeah.
So no Vicky.
She hasn't gotten on.
Okay.
We do still have 1 minute.
And we don't anticipate.
And it is
Rick
now 2 o'clock. Do you wish to?
I don't think we'll see much of Rick. At least until
unfortunately. Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and call this Planning Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, August 6th, here at 2 p.m. Stephanie, why don't we go ahead and do a roll call?
Commissioner Byers?
Here.
Commissioner Hall?
Here.
Commissioner McLean?
Here.
Commissioner Richardson?
Here.
Commissioner Rigsby?
Here.
Absent is Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Baugh. Also present is Stephanie and Alex and Britta for the Community Development Department and Zach Cook for legal. You do have a quorum.
Sounds good. Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome, Alex. This is your first Planning Commission meeting. We're glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, and we'll look forward to working with y'all.
Sounds good. I'm sure the board would love to hear more from you during our development report, community development office report. So we'll hear more from you there. But at this time, we'll take any declarations of conflict of interest from the board.
I have none. None.
Seeing none, we'll move on to certification of compliance with Resolution 2024-01.
I do certify that the meeting and property were posted in accordance with Resolution 2024-01 and Section 5440 of the Municipal Code.
Sounds good. Thank you. We are in compliance then. Let's move on to approval of agenda. Any discussion on the agenda as stated?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner McLean?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Awesome. All right, next agenda item, approval of minutes from our meeting in June, on June 4th, 2024. Feels like a lifetime ago. Any comments or corrections on the meeting minutes from June 4th?
No, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented in the packet.
And second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner McLean?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good deal. All right, number 5, public input. So at this time, we'll open it up for public input for those that are here. This time would be to comment on anything that is not on our agenda. This is for the commission to hear from the public in general, any concerns or questions. Anybody want to comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public input and move on to our quasi-judicial public hearing. Stephanie, I believe we have one item for today. What can you tell us about this item?
That is correct. So today we have one public hearing for approval of a site plan and concept case for the development located at 1214 Meacham Drive. The development will be a medical complex within the C2 commercial district. It has gone through a development review. There were no mitigation requirements as noted within your packets, and the only thing that will continue to be addressed is during the building permit process. But the plans that were submitted do meet code under development and within the zoning districts. The applicant, Mr. Parker, is here, and also the property owners are available for questions.
Great. Do you want to come on down so we can ask questions? Doing well, how are you? If you don't mind just raising your right hand, say you'll tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and state your name as well.
Yes, I'm Nancy Walker, and I will tell the truth.
Thanks, Nancy.
Nothing but the truth.
Thank you, Nancy.
So help me God. James Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Excellent. So Stephanie gave us a little bit of an overview. We're looking at a site plan today. What can you tell us about this site plan?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
No problem. We were just asking, what can you tell us about the site plan or anything that you would want to open with?
Well, it's kind of pretty straightforward. I mean, it's one of those lots in Ruidoso that's fairly flat, especially given it's in Ruidoso. We have already got the DOT sign off for the entrance to the highway. What we have not gotten yet is the road, the permit. As it shows that we want the access to be from both the highway and Leon Farrar. And we will be talking to the county, I guess it would be a city road for that approval.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, it's Village Arito, so.
Okay. Great, so the plans are submitted as is for a medical structure as Stephanie described, and then we also have the impact checklist from the village. Anything else you'd like to open with or comment on?
We plan on starting as soon as we can, that's all I can tell you.
Okay, good deal. What will happen is we'll actually open this up for public comment for anybody here that would want to comment on the site plan. If there are no comments, we'll go ahead and close that, and then the commission might have some questions for you all as applicants, just to clarify the site plan. So at this time, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment on this particular agenda item. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment for this particular agenda item, and then we'll open it up for questions from the commissioners.
And Chairman Rigsby, before you proceed, a total of 15 letters were mailed. I did have one returned as an insufficient address, and there were 0 responses received by email
Okay.
or in mail.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steph. Commissioners, what questions do you have for the applicants?
I've got a couple of questions, just mostly related to the item. I know on the impact checklist, they had stated they needed a stormwater plan was needed. Looking at your not as-built, existing contours as submitted, you got a 6-foot grade difference from one side of the building to the other. Have you designed the cut and fill for this site yet? And do you know whether it balances, or are you gonna have to dispose of it? And can you come up with a grading plan that meets village ordinance?
Right. Now, where the footprint of the building was, it appears that we're going to be able to reconcile the 6 foot to around 4 foot, and that's our plan. We understand if we are not able to do that, that we will need an engineered, another engineer for that stem wall, which will be the forms for the slab. But yes, we do have a site, that site plan is pretty accurate. There is one thing that may have happened since this was submitted, and it was per the owner, to possibly, we have relocated, we have moved it over, still within the setbacks, well within the setbacks.
Yeah.
We was scooted away from the back of Sierra Blanca Pharmacy.
Okay.
Mainly for more exposure, but still well within the setbacks. That might have fallen in might make that topo look a little differently, and I can get that, definitely get that to Mr. Coker before.
Yeah, we just have the existing grade. We don't have the finished grade contours.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I asked. So I assume that'll be part of the building permit, Stephanie?
Yes, so the
Okay.
building permit has determined that sheet drainage would be required, so it just needs to return to the street drainages because the grade at this property is very minimal.
Okay. Okay, that's the only question I had.
The question about screening on the backside of the property to Leon Farrar, I believe these are intended to be shrubs. Is that the intended screening?
Well, it was unclear to us. Obviously, we will do whatever is required. That was our assumption, that it would be some kind of landscape feature or something just to shield those folks, the residents on the other side of Leon Farrar. I don't know if we have full clarity on that yet as of now, but we do have a somewhat of a landscape plan, and I think we're kind of vague when we show that screen because we're not really sure what that is to be.
Okay. I
So
don't-
pursuant to the code, there is screening that's required as it does abut the adjacent residential district. In the approved screening materials, shrubs and trees are allowed. So the final determination on the type of species used will be granted by forestry.
Okay.
Thanks, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
This will be one rentable unit, or is there going to be two that are side by side? Because it looks like there's two doors on the structure.
So on one
Oh, yeah.
side, we'll have a family practice. I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been a nurse for over 30 years. And so on one side, it'll be a family practice. And then when you go through on both, it's almost like a U behind it. So the people working behind will be able to go on both sides. The other side will be more of a medical spa as well as a walk-in clinic. They'll have some availability as well. So for me, my passion is family practice. It's what I love. It's what I'm very comfortable in. And then I've spent over this past year really learning the medical spa business. In fact, whenever this past year, I intentionally chose to work at a place in Roswell that's a medical spa family practice combo, and was upfront with them with what my goal was. We bought our home here a little over 10 years ago. And then my husband and I grew up in Roswell, so I went to work in Roswell at a combination, both medical spa and family practice, and said, this is my goal. I want to be in Ruidoso full-time. I want to be there, but I want to learn the business. I'm 55, right? That's kind of old to kind of roll the dice on your first business. So, and so that's why I went there. So I've been trying to really learn all those aspects of the business. And then last weekend, I had applied for a program at Duke University for nurse practitioners with an entrepreneurial development. And I went through the interview process, and to my surprise, I was accepted into the program. So it's funded by Johnson & Johnson. They want to invest and try to drive private medical practices in rural communities because we're kind of limited. And so I was chosen as part of this. And what they will do, I have to go on site to North Carolina a couple times. They will provide support long distance, and then my first year, they'll make sure my clinic is set up appropriately and then oversee me for my first year to make sure that I'm making the decisions that would be best for this community. So it was like this really just amazing, like everything from finding that lot that didn't require hundreds of thousands of dollars of dirt work and all the things, and it just, we're super excited. So to go back to your original thing, we will have both spaces. But I wanted, kind of what I've seen from where I've been working is the medical spa patients don't necessarily want to run into the sick people, right? So that's why we did a separate entrance for them so they can come in that direction and kind of have their own experience. Then those of us will share common ground with the desk in front, be able to use the same staff to run both sides. But then it's kind of a unique experience for those people as well as a unique experience for the family practice as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that information. Really appreciate that. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
good.
I just had one question, and it's, have you applied for the cut-in on Leon Farrar? Or did you guys want to make one in there?
No,
or
we
just
have
leave it?
not. We have not.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a handy idea in that area
Yeah.
for people getting out.
Well,
So,
if I may, I'll give you a little backstory or a little bit of reason why. obviously, we definitely wanted they definitely wanted the main access to be Highway 48.
Highway 48.
We didn't know, I've dealt with the DOT before in the past, and you never know how that's gonna go, but we decided to maybe just in there, as far as they were concerned, this was the entrance we wanted. We didn't want them to say, well, you've already got an access. I just not knowing what to anticipate. So now, we definitely would like to have that, that pass through, if for no other reason, for the trash trucks, but certainly for egress and ingress to the business.
Yeah, no, trying to turn left on 48 out of
48 is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, yeah.
Depends on the month of the year sometimes.
That's true. Time of day, but no, it's a good idea to have that second entrance for sure, because it makes it easier. You can go to the light and you don't have to try to cross traffic on a state highway. It makes a huge
And
difference.
Stephanie, is that a DOT decision, or is that,
So for the Leon Farrar, that is actually the Village of Ruidoso Street Department. So they did analyze the impact and the cut inserts that would be needed for the Leon Farrar. They didn't find any determinations of detrimental to the surrounding area. They are in agreement that the main entrance come off of Meacham due to this as a commercial complex and the intensity of traffic would actually be a burden into the residential area. So the development of the main entrance off of Highway 48 is concurrent with municipal code.
Okay.
Thanks. There was another question that was brought up there, solid waste. Do they need dumpsters on this property?
There will be a requirement per the solid waste that all commercial businesses have their own, not to impact the residential. So that's pretty standard practice with all new development.
Yes.
And the actual location will be agreed upon with the applicants and Jerry.
Okay.
Sounds good.
If I may, I don't think I understood what you were talking about as far as the access to Leon Farrar. What was the final conclusion?
That would be granted.
Oh, okay,
Streets
all right.
Department felt that having it as a secondary would not be impact because your
Okay.
main will come from the highway.
And there's there's nothing within the ordinances about medical that needs special solid waste or anything when it comes to medical, right?
No, our code does show it permissive within the C2 and then has its own requirements for parking, and they have met and exceeded those expectations.
Good deal. Other questions? Okay. You know what I'm gonna say.
based upon the foregoing findings of fact per 54-64 and 54-100 of the Village Code, I move to grant the site plan and concept approval for case number SP-2024-186 with the condition stated in the case report.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion about the motion?
No.
Seeing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner McLean?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby?
Aye.
Motion carries.
There you go.
Thank you.
Congratulations, good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Got something to sign from Stephanie.
And then either of you all can sign this, is just agreeing to the case study and the conditions. And then I can email you a copy of this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. Look forward to seeing you.
Good deal. All right, we'll move from our quasi judicial hearing to our old business. Stephanie, you want to comment on our old business that we have for discussion and possible action for the approval of the administrative process?
So, yes, so in June, we discussed the administrative approval process for minor variances to be granted to alleviate the holdup on construction and also the holdup in your times for more precedent types of cases that would exceed out a 1 foot barrier limit. During that meeting, it was requested that it be a little bit more clear on what the approval requirement is granted for, and that this be brought back yearly to review and possibly redesignate. And you guys did name the village manager or their designee as who y'all approved to review and sign off on that. So the document was modified and was anticipated to be brought back last month. However, due to the fires, we canceled that. And I do have that back for you guys' approval today.
Thanks, Stephanie. It was in our packet. I think those changes were communicated in the packet. Any questions, comments, feedback?
No, I think, as I said, the changes they made were good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so, Stephanie, for this one, we need to do a vote to adopt the
Or
administrative
just
approval?
to approve it, and then we can all sign it, minus Rick and Vicky, because they're not here.
Okay, sounds good. Then I would entertain a motion to approve the administrative minor development setback variance for side and rear yards.
Carry on, Bart.
You've been awfully
Okay, I make a
quiet.
motion to approve the minor development variance for side and rear yard setbacks.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Nice, Bart.
Bart was here today.
That on the record.
Let's go to
Bart up
roll
for
call
that.
vote if there's no discussion.
Sorry to wake you up, bud.
Commissioner Byers?
Aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Aye.
Commissioner McLean?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Rigsby?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And you want us to sign this document?
That would be perfect, thank you.
And today is the 6th. Okay, I think that is it that we have for old business. Let's move to the next one, community development report. So for this, Alex, I would ask, I know that this is what, week 2? So the report might be short from your perspective, and Steph, if you want to come on top, but why don't you introduce yourself to the commission and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, with pleasure. So Alex Koenig is who I am. I'm coming to you from Rowlett, Texas, most recently. So that's the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the Dallas side of things. As the chair indicated, this is week number 2 for me, so still feeling my way about. My background professionally is land use planning, but also have economic development, redevelopment, project management, those kinds of things in my repertoire. So excited to be here in these, I guess, unprecedented times, but again, feel very strongly from what I've seen, what I've heard, and the experiences I've had with folks that are here, that this community is not just a slogan of being strong, but really is strong. And we'll come through this and look forward to doing what I can to help it along.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. We've enjoyed working with Michael, and I know he'll still be around, but it's good to have somebody for the board more focused, if you will. So we're happy to have you. And that wasn't a dig at Michael, just to be clear. Or focused, just to be clear. But we're happy to have you, Alex. Commissioners, any questions for Alex? And then maybe we can get a full report from Stephanie. During commissioners' comments, we'll have the board introduce themselves, if that's okay with the board, just to give you an idea of who's on the board. We met last week, but you can meet the rest of these guys. Stephanie, any report that you would like to give on development, any of the other projects we have, generally the village? Anything you want to cover?
In the packet, you have 2 months' worth, so you have May and June's. Pretty much just the basics, everything's still the same. We are increased in our building permit activity from last year, and then you'll see kind of more of a reflection on how many permits were issued so far during the devastation. That'll include, different types of demolition. But for the department standpoint, it's pretty much just been consistency and moving right along and going with the flow on how to assess the districts and the burns and how to appropriate and make sure everybody is set up safely to continue to rebuild. Additionally, today, I do have a couple items, for the 1104 Meacham project. I'm not sure if all of y'all were here on that. So it was first brought in 2001, and there was a site plan and, conditional use approval for the multifamily housing. It was named as the Elk Meadows, development with the 72 units, and it had, like, I believe 5 buildings. I do have Colin available, and there has been a slight modification to the plan. It hasn't decreased the unit-wise, but the building layout has a minor impaction. So I have what was previously approved and the new layout just for y'all to kind of review and be up to date. It's nothing that would technically constitute having to be reheard, but I just wanted to keep y'all in the loop that when you do start to see construction, what you may have been expecting may look different than what we are getting. But it's still going to be amazing and help out the community with our housing needs. So let me get that for you.
Sounds good.
And Colin, if you feel like I've missed anything or you want to elaborate, you are more than welcome to jump on. And then if you guys have any questions for it, Colin will be the one that knows.
Okay. And Colin, what's Colin's situation?
Colin is the developer that is in partnership with the village.
Gotcha.
So it's their project with the village land.
Yep. So is it Mesa Apartments or a different one? Hey, Colin, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself, Colin?
Sure. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I'm representing our developer partnership, which is now Enrich Communities LLC, essentially the same folks that were Mesa. It's just we had a reorganization on that particular partnership. But yeah, we're full steam ahead on all our civil engineering, our structural engineering, geotech. We're doing our traffic study as well. What you're seeing here is a reflection really of, as Stephanie mentioned, we originally had our site plan approval done in 2021. It was kind of high level at that point to make application for the, relative to the state agencies. What you're seeing now really is a reflection of kind of the high level engineering that we've done related to the steepness of the slope, the need for the turn lane and where that's going to impact the site in terms of accessibility, ingress, egress, the need for a flatter drive essentially. And we're still working on our drainage plan, but this is, I think, where the site is going to end up looking a little different to what you've seen previously. So we've gone to 3 buildings, essentially from 6. So we're working not only on the engineering and the site characteristics, but also on the value engineering on the development side as well. So you're seeing that as a kind of reflection of that.
So,
Thanks, Colin. So just to clarify what we're looking at here for the public
This one's
record,
new one,
that's the
and
new
that
one.
was previously approved.
And that one was previously approved, but it's changed ingress, egress. It's changed number of buildings and configuration of buildings.
Correct. And I'm not a civil
It's
engineer. it's
not,
not-
yeah, is there, maybe, Steph, you could provide some information, or Zach? This is a considerable change compared to the original one that was planned, and I know that we re-upped the site plan, I think it was in '23, for an additional 18 months or 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is.
2 years.
Just to clarify, I mean, 4 buildings versus 1 large building, I think is what we're looking at there. That's a considerable difference.
There's 3 buildings. So there's this one, and
Right. What's the determination whether or not that's a different site plan than what we approved. I don't know if there's a legal definition of,
I don't know off the top of my head. It would be in your ordinances, which I'm scrambling to find right now.
okay.
And what's the reason for the change?
So Colin was showing, the determination for the egress was changed, from the DOT approvals and development needs. Also the building configuration layout, they found a easier developable way to put the buildings rather than, what is seen there with the drainage plans and recourses.
Same number of units?
Yes, Colin.
Same number, yeah.
Is it still 72?
72 units, yeah. Plus a 2,000 or 1,800 square foot community center that's kind of in the middle. I believe there's one unit adjacent or contiguous to that community center.
I'm sure that's gonna have the appropriate firewalls, and since that's one building now instead of individual buildings here. Firewalls in this structure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be, made to the multifamily housing code that supports the apartments now.
All right, so we changed the layout and the types of the buildings for the ease of construction. Is it correct for me to assume you've already done the mass balance with the cut and the fills on this project?
Frankly, the civil engineering is still not complete, the geotech is not complete, and the traffic study is not complete. So we're hoping to have everything wrapped up by Labor Day in terms of all the engineering and design work.
Okay, I appreciate that, Colin. I do believe, and we'll get a ruling here or some feedback from Zach, but I think we need to see,
Yeah, because this is normal.
yeah.
I'm not against it.
No, I mean, this has been a project we've been wanting to get off the ground since
Yeah.
2021. We're happy we have the tax credit. I assume that there's going to be no impact if we have it in September, when you have a little bit more of the civil engineering done.
Yeah, my guess is it's going to be close to final on the site plan.
Okay.
I just think it'd be on the prudent side, like you're saying, to
I think so too.
Yeah.
Is there,
we don't
Zach,
wanna-
do you want to comment on?
Well, I found that part of, in the ordinance on site plan review that says minor amendments may be approved. Minor amendments to approved site plans may be approved by the chairman and secretary by the planning commission upon a finding by the planning administrator that the amendment to the site plan is in compliance with Division 3 of this article pertaining to zoning district regulations, Division 4 of this article pertaining to development standards, and Article 4 of this chapter pertaining to flood hazard regulations. Amendments to site plans pursuant to this subsection shall include only minor adjustments to approved site plans where the amendment is in conformance with this chapter, and shall not include changes to use, conditional use variances, change of any non-conforming use or any other non-conforming use, and expansions of non-conforming uses. So it gives you the guidelines on what a minor amendment is.
And I do know Colin's been working with village staff, so other departments that are affiliated with the development review, have been in the works with all of this.
Yeah. My interpretation would be, and they did give us guidance there, but movement of buildings cut.
Changing
other
the
items
entrance.
is beyond
Number of buildings.
minor. Because of 6 multifamily properties with 12 on each, or whatever the math is, versus 3 is kind of considerably different.
That same section gives you discretion by saying that they may be approved, minor amendments may be approved.
Okay.
That seems more than minor.
Yeah, it seems to me.
I think we are kind of operating with consensus. I know that this was included in the community development report, and not a specific line item, but since there is a change, I think we should bring it
We can definitely accommodate that. So we are currently scheduling for the September meeting.
Yeah.
And that'll give Colin a little bit more time to, address some of the other concerns or be ready for that. I did put him on the spot today that we were gonna talk about that. So we can bring that forward. You guys can have a more in-depth look at all the plans and we can, obtain an additional approval at that time.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Colin.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tax, Colin, you might know, the tax credit provided by the state, I mean, there's not a timeline, or we don't lose that tax credit, correct?
Well, when you get the award, which was, I forget the date, it was in July, we get 6 months to begin construction. So our goal right now is to close in November, and really right around the beginning of the year is when we'll start moving some dirt around, weather dependent, obviously.
Yeah, as always here. Okay, so that, we should still be able to accommodate that tax credit.
Yeah, with this being a village property, even though it's a different development company, the village cannot issue any of the building permits, so they are confined to having, the state do all of their permitting process.
Okay.
Yeah. Has the state put out whether you need to have an NPDS permit for the size of the site? Have they made that determination yet?
I don't, at this point, we haven't submitted any plans to the state. We're just waiting for our full set, which will be, like I said, Labor Day, we should have a full set done.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's generally, if it's over an acre, you're gonna have one.
Yeah.
And a stormwater management plan.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
September 3rd, that's the day after Labor Day, we will have our meeting then.
Yes, we are having
Okay.
it. It is set for September 3rd,
Okay.
the day before my birthday, wink, wink.
Okay.
Okay.
Birthday cake and presents for
Hold on, let me
Stephanie.
write that down.
September 3rd.
How convenient.
Good deal.
Slip that
Hey, you
right
get
in
a
there.
free day off.
Get a free day off.
Who does?
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for bringing that to our attention in the report. Any other things that you would want to bring up, or commissioners, if you have questions for the development?
Yeah, the only thing I'd suggest on development, I know as they're going through the final engineering, is certainly, as I said, because we've seen it on other developments where we have 2D plans. That's why I asked the questions about the cut and fill. I mean, we went through that at Meacham. You know, you started out with 17 buildings and you're going to have maybe 10 built because of the topography. And again, that was not a large topography either. But you definitely, have an engineer spend about 3 days doing that stuff on Sofdesk or some other civil design package. It'll save you a lot of headaches, that's for sure. So that, and like I said, the drainage areas and all that, if you can bring those back to us in September, that would make it a lot easier to understand what's going on.
The drainage plan was previously already reviewed and approved, so
And,
this
but
is
they
just the
changed the layout.
Yeah.
But,
There'll
so how
be
does
more
that,
of
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Steph.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Colin.
you.
Good
Thank
to
you.
meet you as well. I have a question on the development report. The May short-term or lodger's tax remittance. How much was that different in '24 than it was in '23? Because it seems like May of '24 was pretty low. Do we have any insight into that?
I do not. It doesn't look like she does a yearly comparison, from where we are this,
Well, I
year
guess it does.
versus last. But I can do some research and send that out in an email.
No, I think I got it. It's 138 in '23 and it's 151 here, so. And then the number of short-term rentals dropped by like 75. Do we think that was primarily fire-related?
Do we have a number?
You got a number for June, yeah, it's down
June
about.
'24 was at 173 versus May '24, it was at like 144.
We did have, a few, lose, and we did cancel out permits. On top of ones that haven't been destructed, we did have some cancellation and hold of permits that are providing, long-term housing options versus the short-term housing options. So that could potentially be what you're reflecting here.
Have you had a number yet as to how many were lost?
How many short-term rentals?
Yeah, within the fire or the floods?
No, we haven't necessarily put, how many were depicted, on any kind of data. I do know we have quite a few, shown on a destruction map that's on the Village of Rito, so you can type in an address, see if it was affected or not. But I haven't heard of them actually pinpointing out how many of those were different. I do know that, there were, the 1,400 structures in the fire, that's both the county and the village. Of that number, there was 700 units within the village. But and I want to say about 200 of those were deemed around the primary residence status.
Okay.
The additional amount was secondary homes. So those
Secondary
could have been incorporated short-term rentals. And then with the flood, there was an additional 600 or 700 homes damaged during that as well.
And those were all in the village, or was that also part in the downs as well too? Was that county?
The data is, for the floods is only the village.
Only the village, okay.
So nearly 1,300 homes impacted between fire and flooding
Yeah, within
for the village
municipality.
limits. Okay. Anything else for the development office? Anything else you'd like to share, Stephanie?
We're just happy to have Alex.
Yeah. Alex, any other comments or anything else you'd like to share?
No, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Okay. With that in mind, we'll move from community development report to commissioners' comments. I do think it would be good to go through real quick and do quick intros, so that way Alex knows who he's working with here. And then maybe another couple comments towards the end. So, Josh, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, we got to meet each other a while ago, Rusty
Okay, good.
Balls. Just wondering how you're enjoying the heat and humidity we have here in Reynosa compared to Rowlett, Texas.
So yes, I'm enjoying it. That was definitely one of the draws here, the weather forecast.
Yeah, no humidity.
In
How about
regard
the mosquitoes?
to, have not had much experience with the mosquitoes here.
There you
but,
go. We don't have any. There we go.
Certainly the 20-plus degree difference in actual temperature and 25 degrees and what it feels like is a nice change.
Thank you. But we're glad to have you, man. Thank you.
Bart?
I'm Bart Myers, and I've been here for better part of the past 40 years, and I've had a number of businesses. Started off with a burger business in '82 and built 20 apartment units and developed that, and then I had dry cleaners up here and sold that, and now I'm basically retired and on wife support.
You workshop that joke, don't you? You get feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Alex, we met last week. Jacob Rigsby, born and raised here in Ruidoso, have a remote job with the company out in New York. Moved back to Ruidoso in 2021, so we're coming up on 3 years of moving back. So, yeah, we met the other day, so I'll spare you, and Ron, go ahead.
I'm Ron Michelina. I lived in San Antonio, Texas for 32 years. I'm a retired dentist. So if you guys need any bridge work around here, I'm your man.
You workshop that joke too, don't you?
No, this is a very good board. We don't rubber stamp anything. Everyone really looks at things. And, hopefully that's admired by everyone we're working with, and we should be able to get everything done the right ways. So, that's it for me.
Thanks, Ron.
And again, my plaque, it's William Hall. Everyone calls me Bill. My only joke is whenever I'm called William, that's because I did something Mom was upset about. But I'm a retired mining engineer, spent the bulk of my career on the East Coast in the quarrying and construction business. Retired here 2 years ago. Have owned property here since 2017. I knew I was going to retire here, so this is kind of it's a neat thing for me. I enjoyed this part of it. I've been on that side of the seat throughout my career, so it's interesting to be on this side of the seat. So,
Yeah. Thanks, Bill. I think just one comment for the board from my perspective. Today was kind of a light day. We only had one
Yeah.
site plan. I'm trying to, extend this as long as possible so I can spend as much time with you fellas as possible. But I do
Move to close the
think,
meeting. I move to close the meeting.
Second.
I do think the work that we're going to be doing here is going to be picking up over the next couple of months as the village and the council determines a strategic plan for how we recover from what happened in June and then this last month as well. So I think it's going to pick up considerably. So I just ask for the board to be kind of present through that experience. That's the only thing I got.
I just wanted to throw out there, I would hope that at some point we could pick back up the STR committee and tie that up. I thought we had made some real positive progress in that, and I'd hate for it to all just go to waste.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna go to waste on that. We have ensured that I keep the communication and everything in the forefront. We did get pushed on a secondary level. Unfortunately, the fires and the
no
floods kind
doubt.
of overruled us. So we are still waiting for a level of mitigation on that part so we can get back together on this with a more clear and sense of direction to ensure all the efforts that we were having at that point still align with how we're going to be moving forward with the rebuild of Ruidoso.
One other thing I'd like to throw out there, I'd like to give our mayor has done an outstanding job, I think, and he's been faced with more than any mayor in the past has ever faced in this community. And, I hope his name ends up on something more than a dead-end street when it comes down to remembering him. That's it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, another thing, I was talking to a captain for the fire department, and I told him how much we appreciated him. I saw him the day of the fire. There was a lot of guys in fire trucks that had a really bad look on their face when they were headed toward the fire, and everyone else was headed away from it. And I told him how much we appreciated it, and I said, I'm sure you're probably tired of hearing that. And he relayed to me that they didn't hear that much of it. That they're hearing more complaints about, well, you let so-and-so's house burn down. You could have done more. What took you so long? So I don't know. I mean, I try to do everything I can for them, buy them donuts and try to buy them lunch or whatever we can do. But, I mean, shoot, I know all of us here think the same way, and we appreciate them. But if you see them somewhere, tell them thanks again, because they haven't got the pat on the back that you would expect they would have gotten for what they've done for the village, along with Lynn as well. So.
Yeah, no, from the mayor on down, I mean, the staff, everybody, staff in the village, they've performed
Yes,
unbelievably. I mean, and what a lot of people don't, I know the mayor mentions, and he mentions on the radio most of the time, is particularly stuff with the water department where we didn't lose. I mean, you had some issues in Upper Canyon and all that, but for the most part, the village didn't lose its water. I mean, you could be like, Half Peak or Calf's Peak up there in Vegas, they still ain't got water 2 years. They performed admirably. And the firefighters, I remember, because I wound up staying back for, I'd talk to them every night up on the hill when we were watching the fire. So, they've done an admirable job, and everybody has. And like I said, the mayor's taken a lot of crap for stuff for people yapping on the internet. But as I said, seeing what's gone on in that, and the whole staff here in the village has been phenomenal, and they all deserve kudos for that. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I concur. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate those that are here on the board and been impacted. Josh, I know that you lost your home during the fire, so
all good.
we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And I know that there are many others still impacted. So
It's okay.
I guess just to wrap, unless there's anything else from the commissioners, I think that today was pretty light, but I don't think that'll be the case going forward. And I know that there'll be more guidance from the council and the mayor on how we can help. So be ready for that.
Sorry, I'm actually dirty because I was working, not because I'm homeless.
Good clarification. There is a good clarification there. All right. Seeing if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn. Any discussion? We'll do affirmation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all.